breaking news that we're following out of Manhattan's Union Square. You're taking a live look there right now as the scene continues to be extremely chaotic. If we can get a closer look here in just a moment from our Skyfox cameras, you can see this black SUV in the middle here. People are pushing this vehicle back. If you look closely, that's what's happening. And looks like we're going to get a closer look here. People are on top of this SUV. They're pushing it back. People are on top of this mail carrier truck to the right as well. And this is what's going on in Union Square right now, a complete chaotic scene there. This is an area that people had gathered to for a streamers giveaway, promising things like PlayStation and different free items that were being offered here. People gathering for this, thousands of them, and it has turned into a very violent event. And look at this, people are just pushing this car back. So this is an area, again, the police are telling people to avoid for this very reason. You do not want to be driving through here as they try to get this area under control right now. It looks like there's people even inside of the sunroof of this car. I'm not sure if this was their vehicle or if they forced their way in. It looks like our team at Fox 5 in New York is live on the scene right now. Let's take you out to their coverage here next.
It will be bypassing the Union Square stop. There was construction at one of the entrances, but at another shot that we were seeing a lot of people blocking that entrance. And we will have a crew headed to this area as well to give you live reports from the ground. But you can see just the sheer amount of people, traffic at a standstill in that area around Union Square as well. So stay with Fox 5. We will have the latest for you, even on our website. But you can just see the sheer amount of people out there. Crowds continue to grow out there. And we're trying to monitor the situation. We're talking to Dan Rice earlier, who said that there were police out there with plywood. There was a line of police. It looked like they were trying to disperse the crowds. Crowds came in. We saw the officers dispersing them. But, you know, it's escalated quite a fair amount since we've gone on the air in just the last few minutes. And since 3 o'clock, these crowds have truly grown. Now the MTA stepping in, of course, so no subway stops there at, they're just bypassing Union Station because of how many people are out there right now. If you're just joining us, this is a scene in Union Square. Chaos unfolding and breaking out, all because of what we believe is a massive giveaway for this YouTube sensation, Kai Cenat. Looked to be giving out free gaming controllers, gaming systems, and we believe he's in that SUV that's backing up, and it's drawn all those crowds. We've got someone on the phone right now who can give us a better idea of this scene. And who is that? A former NYPD officer is joining us right now. Sir, Dan Porcher, can you hear us right now? Dan, are you there? Mr. Porcher, can you hear us? Okay, that we don't have the phoner right now. But again, if you're joining us, this is live, large crowds surrounding an SUV that is backing up in Union Square. We've got this phoner now. And we are trying to get a hold of someone. Darren, can you hear us, sir? Darren?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hi. Thanks so much for joining us. Can you give us a little idea of what is going on right now and set the scene?
Sure. What you have is an influencer that did something we refer to as a pop-up, whereas they were going to distribute a series of goods. However, you had such an overwhelming attendance of people that responded. So I think they got in front of the NYPD, and NYPD is somewhat behind the eight ball on this. So one of the first things that you want to do is you want to block off certain streets. That quadrant of Union Square on 14th Street is very important for you to stop traffic on Irving Place up to University Place on 14th Street. What that'll do is that'll prohibit vehicles from driving in and out of the location because we don't want someone to get hurt. But in addition to that, you're going to want to establish an emergency lane. Now, right below Union Square, you have a transit district. So based on having that transit district below Union Square, you're afforded the ability to get officers upstairs. But that transit district has a very limited number of officers. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to use, when I say you, meaning the NYPD, they're going to have to work in concert with the SRG unit to come down to work towards the crowd control. The SRG unit is the best unit in the NYPD as it relates to crowd control. And so right now it seems as if it's a crowd control issue, but as time builds, you're going to bring in greater resources from the police department to ensure that you have access and hopefully disperse these people as soon as possible, because it's clear that they don't have a permit and we just don't want someone to get hurt.
And for anyone joining in right now, we're speaking with Darren Porcher. He is a retired NYPD lieutenant who was with the department for 20 years. And sir, you're talking to us about crowd control. It looked like at one point so many people were on top of that Union Square station, pulling people on top of that structure. I mean, we didn't see any officers in that area. Where do you think they could be? And I guess, like, what would you do in that situation?
Well, I did see the people that were on top of the subway structure, and that is a point of contention where you want to move people. But right now it appears as if a lot of the crowd is assembling in the street. And as I mentioned, the significance of shutting down those streets to vehicular traffic is very important, because we want to now open that emergency lane to allow police to get in, and if God forbid somebody gets hurt, have an ambulance that has the ability to assist.
Right.
Because it's a pop-up, it becomes very challenging, because you have officers that are positioned in different parts of the city. So I'll give you an example. This is happening in Manhattan South. The patrol bureau for Manhattan South is on 21st Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. So what you have happening right now is a mobilization of officers in all commands in the area of Manhattan South, so you can get them to that area as quick as possible.
Darren, Antoine Lewis up here. Stay with us for a moment, because now we're saying, oh, someone just fell off the back of a car, what we're looking at. And I was just about to ask you, what do you do first in this situation? You're saying trying to open up arteries, because that is one of the main ones in the city. Where do you first even begin to try to approach to try to control this?
Well, the most important thing is you need the assemblance of personnel that have the capability to get the job done. I mentioned the police officers, that's one component, but another component we have is the Department of Traffic, or the DOT agents, because they have vehicles and they have a genuine understanding of how to shut down those intersections. So right now, I think that's the terminal point of focus, is shutting down vehicular traffic, so you can get the cops in there to do what's necessary as it relates to crowd control.
You know, it's interesting because we're not really seeing too many cops inside of the crowd trying to engage with people. We see them on the outskirts. We see that line with plywood, throwing something, you know, but I don't see too much activity inside of the crowd. Why is that? What's the thought process behind not entering the crowd?
Well, right now, a mobilization is occurring, and the Patrol Borough's Manhattan South Borough Commander is assembling a mobilization to try to draw as many officers as possible. You want to stage the officers first at a location outside of where the disturbance is occurring. By staging the officers outside of where the disturbance or the crowd is assembling, you now afford the officers what the mission is going to be. Officer Smith, you're going to do this. Officer Jones, you're going to do that, etc. And so after you establish a plan, then you're going to do something we refer to as the deployment. The deployment is placing officers strategically to curb the level of crowd that's at that location. This is going to take some time, because this is a pop-up event. However, this is something that's manifesting as we speak.
So let me ask you this, Darren. When in a situation like this, you just mentioned Manhattan South and all the precincts there. Is this one of the ones where you just call out to all of the boroughs and just start grabbing bodies to throw at the situation?
I mean, that is a possibility, but right now we need an immediate interdiction. That immediate interdiction is going to come from the officers that are assigned to Manhattan South, because they're currently the boots on the ground in that vicinity where you have the large group of people that are assembling. You can have a mobilization that's citywide, but for now, the immediacy lies with the cops that are working in Manhattan South.
And how did this happen with a YouTube sensation, a YouTuber who was able to get into this crowd? I mean, Were they to contact the NYPD first? I mean, for them to attract such a scene, it just turned into total chaos. And you mentioned something about permits. Is that generally the right way to go about things if you're a celebrity and you're trying to attract people to a single area at a public spot in New York City?
Traditionally, the natural order of business when you have a large assemblance of people would be the organizer would establish a permit or would be presented that permit, which would allow them the resources such as barricades, police officers, EMS, and things to that effect. That's the best way to go about this. However, in the scenario that we have right now, that doesn't appear to be the case. This appears to be a pop-up event, and so everyone is just assembled. And this is more than likely something that was done on social media without connecting with police. Police are now on the scene. You have more officers that are on the scene. And unfortunately, you have people that are now throwing things at the officers, which creates another point of contention in terms of how to manage a crowd of this magnitude.
All right, we also, Darren, stand by because we want to go to Bill Stanton, former NYPD, also just for his perspective in his take. Bill, are you there?
Speaking, yes.
Bill, thank you for joining us. Also, your thoughts on this as this is unfolding. You heard what Darren was saying about mobilization. Do you agree that's immediately what needs to happen right now?
I know you want to do this, Bill.
Absolutely, because what we're seeing unfold before our eyes is a perfect storm for chaos.
Can the YouTuber, Bill, be charged if it's traced back to this person that tweeted or posted or, you know, said something out to the effect about a pop-up? Can that person face charges?
That's more of an attorney question in my mind. What we should be looking for, what we need to understand is in the current climate of New York City, where we have no cash bail, where we have, you know, even violent crimes when they're let go, all it takes is a few bad actors to take advantage of the pandemonium that's going on. And, you know, as we've seen, you know, in the recent past in New York City, one window gets broken, people rush, and then it has a snowball effect. That's my greatest fear.
Do you feel like, you know, it seems like this YouTuber has been leaving? At one point, he was coming out of the SUV from the top. He was handing something out. The crowds were going crazy around him.
They jumped on top.
Yep, the SUV backed off. There were people actually on top of the SUV clinging. It appeared like one person might have fallen off. Do you think generally in your experience, I mean, do these crowds disperse once the source has left the scene from what it appears to be?
Well, the video I saw a short time ago, I saw what you described was the YouTuber, if I'm to understand correctly. To me, that's almost stirring the pot. You know, someone seeking to get clicks on their YouTube channel or their Twitter or Instagram. To me, I see inciting a potential riot. And will they stay? It depends on the people in the crowd. You know, it just takes a couple to sway them either, you know, dispersing or inciting.
Yeah, it is really interesting because this Cenat, this YouTuber, has 5.5 million followers on Instagram. I was reading that, you know, he had put out this event. It was billed as this huge giveaway. I mean, is this something that would have gotten onto the radar of the NYPD, that there is this guy with 5.5 million followers on Instagram promoting an event, a pop-up, and ahead of time, and it was to be live streamed? Do you think that, you know, the NYPD would be on their radar to be out there?
Well, the NYPD, you know, has a social media unit, the largest police department in the world. But, you know, it's to catch something like this. People do this all the time. You know, giveaways. Did the NYPD have the foresight to act upon this? The answer is obviously not. I think it's taken everybody by surprise, you know, including the news media, as this thing wasn't anticipated.
It is interesting because right now we're seeing some kind of vans or gathering around those buses, going around the crowd.
Those look to be MTA buses.
Yeah.
From at least from this vantage point. Now we know that the MTA has announced, they tweeted that they are going to be bypassing the Union Square station. So all of the trains that normally would stop there, they're going to just go on, moving on to the next one, which is likely West 4th.
Yeah.
After that, because that's 14th Street, Union Square, right there. Bill, one other thing I want to ask you about in regards to buses and the situation. If it is in fact a bus that's trapped in the midst of this crowd, what happens here?
Well, I can only give you my...
All right, you're listening in live here to this coverage from our team at Fox 5 in New York, following this breaking news of a YouTuber giveaway there in Manhattan's Union Square that has turned incredibly chaotic. Thousands of people, as you can see here, still gathered in Union Square as our Sky Fox camera is overhead. We're going to continue to monitor this.